team was out there. You know, in high school, you're really not wanting to embarrass yourself around people, and you're kind of nervous about that. Well, I was going down the first fairway by myself. Tommy Weaver and Kelly Kitchens were coming up. I guess it was the ninth fairway, which runs the other way. I thought, okay, I'm going to show them how I can hit the ball. Maybe they'll let me on the golf team. And I've never been able to do this again in my entire life, and I don't know if anybody can do this. I swung so badly that the heel of the club actually, I guess, barely nicked the ball. It went back between my legs. Tommy was coming up, and of course Tommy was a great golfer, and I was looking down the fairway like my ball was down there. Trying to, like maybe might have made it green, and anyway, Tommy walked up, he goes, "Hey Fortenberry, your ball's back behind you." I was crushed. Probably could have gone pro. Anyway, we're glad that y'all did have us join with you on the 40th, although we kind of a little suspicious about why you did that. I think maybe some of you in the class of 77 just wanted a chance to see some of your old girlfriends again. Like your wives get suspicious, which probably explains why Rodney's now trying to set something up for us next year with the class of 1987. Okay, quick show of hands. This is kind of like audience participation, okay? Quick show of hands. How many of you, and some of you didn't get here till high school, but how many of you went to Stanton? Hey, I love y'all guys. How many of you went to that other school? Pretty evenly divided. It's good we were all together. How many of you were from the class of 77? Okay, class of 78.
Woohoo!
Again, I mean, I'm not counting, but it's pretty close to 50-50. I think that's great. And we always got along together well. How many of you, as couples, married somebody from the other class, like Lori and Scott? We all, Christy, you and Chris were from the same class, right? Yes. Or do that too. Paula and Burl, the girls here. Okay. So anyway, I think that's kind of neat that y'all knocked out two birds with one stone, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna, as I go through a few things tonight, I hope it's nothing but good memories. We had some bad memories, but try to concentrate most on the good tonight. I'll probably use people's maiden names because a lot of us don't know anything but the maiden names. I'll probably call Tommy Tommy instead of Tom. I'll probably call Bobby Bobby instead of Bob. But if y'all would please call me Poot instead of Fart. Because I have grown up a lot. Okay. I'll try not to use language like that again. So I wanted to talk about aging just a little bit. Different things that tell us we're getting old. For me, it's usually just the mirror. Having to use reading glasses. The fact that we have grandkids often kind of tells us we're getting old, but some of the conversations with our grandkids brings it out even more. Our oldest grandchild is Christopher. Kids call me Paps. I thought it was like Pabst, Blue Ribbon. I thought, man, they could call me something better than that. But anyway, P-A-P-S, Paps. So this is the conversation Christopher and I had about a year ago. We were at Disney. We were there for several days. And so the first day, he noticed, just like y'all maybe not every time we went to eat or anything, I'd put these on. He'd say, Paps, so why do you always have to put those glasses on? I said, well, Christopher, it's because I'm old. So the next day we were waiting in line and I was, okay, y'all have eaten, it's been a little while, so that's good. I was standing pretty much in a pool of my own sweat. If any of y'all have been to Orlando in July, it's pretty miserable. So anyway, he said, Paps, why are you sweating so much? And I said, well, Christopher, that's because I'm fat. So by day 3, I could, you know, I was walking. He said, "Paps, why are you limping?" I said, "Because I hurt." He said, "Paps, why do you hurt?" I said, "Because I'm old and fat." So we know about that with our grandkids. Another thing, though, that I'd like to, well, aches and pains is one, and my wife, if y'all met her, I married up. I really did. And she didn't, we got her glasses, I think after we'd been married 5 years, and she saw who she had, but it's worked out pretty good. But Becky's from Louisiana, and her dad's, she might not consider him Cajun, I kind of consider him Cajun. And so 4 or 5 years ago, I had my neck operated on, and then our son was getting married, so her dad was at the wedding, and obviously, he was asking me about my neck, and he said, "What caused that?" And I said, "Well, every doctor I talked to just said that's kind of normal for people your age." And he said, "Yeah." And I'm trying to imitate his Cajun voice, which probably wouldn't do him justice, but he said, "Steve," he said, "you'll find out our bodies are like an old car." He said, "When you get a certain age," he said, "the headlights kind of stop working." He goes, "The carburetor sometimes kind of gets choked up a little bit." He said, "Your tires go flat. Your shock absorbers go bad. Sometimes your exhaust system don't work so well in the breathe." So all those aches and pains kind of remind us that we're getting old. But another thing, if you don't think you're getting old, I would encourage you when you're watching TV to sit with a notepad and a pen and write down the commercials that you see, and ask the question, what audience are these advertisers trying to get? And I'm going to read through some of these. Dr. Scholl's, Life Station, that's the one, you know, I've fallen and I can't get up. A Touch of Gray, Olay, Regenerist, Rogaine, Grecian Formula, that all deals with our desire to always look young. Fixodent, Effordent, C-bond denture adhesive, those are self-explanatory. All these vitamin things, Caltrate, Reclass, Boniva, Centrum Silver, y'all hear those when you're watching TV? One of my favorites, Preparation H. This is the only other bad word I'm going to use tonight. I had a boss several years ago who was a very dear friend. One of the funniest things that ever happened to me at work, he called me. It was a very snowy day, nobody was there hardly, and he said, "Where are you at?" And I said, "Well, I'm on Central Expressway." He said, "Man, can you run by like a Walgreens and give me some Preparation H?" "Man, you the boss. Will you reimburse me?" I said, "What flavor do you want?" And he said, "Just the plain old stuff." He said, "But I'm in a meeting with some people, and he's like, when you bring it in there, just put it in my desk drawer or something, and you know, I'll be in another room. Don't come in and make a big deal of it." So I put it in his desk drawer, and I walked around the conference room. It was in there, and I knew the people he was with, and I opened the door, and I said, "Hey, Richard, I put the stuff you asked for in your office." And he looked up from the meeting and he goes, "Thank you. You have literally saved my ass." Okay, there's a few other commercials that you probably see if you're watching the shows I do. Most of these deal with various body functions, and sometimes you're trying to slow it down, sometimes you're trying to speed it up. So you got Prilosec, Nexium, Dulcolax, Vesicare, Flomax, Philips Colon Health. And then if that stuff's not working real well, they sometimes advertise for Depends. And if that's not working well, sometimes they advertise as a last resort for Stainmaster carpet. And then y'all know the two that I haven't mentioned. Viagra and Cialis. If you really want to scar your children and get back at them for everything they've done to you, I would encourage you this year sometime around Christmas, go see if you can find 2 clawfoot bathtubs, set them on your back patio. You and your significant other get in there to where they can just see your shoulders up, hold hands, turn around and take a selfie, and mail it to them as a Christmas card. We tried that, it worked. No, not the drugs. I'm talking about the picture. We tried the picture. It worked. Okay, I better mess that one up. Let's move along. Most of the rest of these really were things that y'all did. I think it worked out well. Those of you who participate in Facebook were asked to name your favorite songs. And man, I'll tell you, they don't make songs like they did when we went to school, do they? I mean, the lyrics now, they're just, I don't know. Because I went back and looked at some of the lyrics of the songs that we knew so well. When you're laying so close to me, there's no place I'd rather you be than with me. I love to love you, baby. I love to love you, baby. I love to love you, baby. I didn't read you the bad part. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music loud and women warm. I've been kicked around since I was born. Now it's all right, it's okay. You may look the other way. We can try to understand the New York Times effect on man. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive. Staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking. Staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Sitting here eating my heart out waiting. Y'all don't know how long we practiced that. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. I need some hot stuff, baby, tonight. I want some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Gotta have some hot stuff. Gotta have some love tonight. So, it's too bad they don't make them like they used to. But, okay, these are the songs that y'all listed. And I'm going to read through. There's about 30 or 40 listed. Go Your Own Way. I was told that a lot. And Anything by KC and the Sunshine Band. Never Been Any Reason. Save My Life. Detroit Rock City. Blinded by the Light. Running on Empty. America. Silver Wings. And I assume that that's the Merle Haggard version. Probably the best. Although Jimmy Buffett, that's pretty good too. Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Amarillo by Morning. But that was the Terry Stafford version, not the George Strait version. Doug Reinhardt made that clear. Time in a Bottle, You Don't Mess Around with Jim. Sherry Anstey was a Styx fan. Light Up and Sweet Mademoiselle. Don't Give Up on Us. Do You Feel Like We Do? Kansas. So last summer I went and saw Kansas. They've fallen. Tickets were $25. My wife, as I told you, from Lake Charles, and her sister was in town, so we went to the Golden Nugget and saw Kansas. It was an old crowd and it was an old band. They were actually pretty good, but when you see 75-year-old men with the tight pants still on, and they're looking at the girls on the front row, and there were several times I just had to avert my eyes. The music was pretty good, but it was kind of bad. So at the end of it, this younger girl that was sitting next to me, who I didn't know, never met that yet, didn't know her, didn't meet her. But she said, what do you think they're going to play for an encore? And I said, well, I assumed they'll play Carry On My Wayward Son, because they hadn't played it. And she goes, man, I was really hoping they'd play Come Sail Away. Does anybody know why that's wrong? It's a Styx song. Okay, so back in high school, when I was a smart aleck, I would have said, yeah, maybe they'll throw in a little Boston and Foreigner and Bump and Turner Overdrive, but they're doing that too. But instead, the kinder, gentler Steve said, I hope they play them both. Okay, they also listed When I Need You, Sir Duke, Seasons in the Sun, jet airliner, walk this way. And actually the guy that said the prayer tonight like those, so that's good. Anything by the Doobie Brothers. Taking Care of Business, that was Scott Hobart's. But y'all refer back to that discussion about Dulcolax and all that stuff, and taking care of business has a different meaning today than it did back then. Black Betty, Hair of the Dog, Hotel California, Ventura Highway, The Rumors, Fleetwood Mac album, China Grove, Three Times a Lady, Stranglehold, Sarah, Laughter in the Rain, Love Will Keep Us Together, All by Myself, which reminds me of my prom night, Hotel California, Amy, Supertramp. There's, first of all, I'm extremely disappointed out of this whole group. Nobody mentioned Margaritaville. As a Jimmy Buffett fan, that kind of insults me, but I didn't listen to it either.
Black Betty. Black Betty.
Black Betty was, that was on there. That was a Rodney Casey selection. I do want to call attention to 3 specific songs, which I find a little bit troublesome that one person named all 3 of these. I'm not going to read the words because somebody might show this video to my mama, and she doesn't know what much of that means. There were, well, I'm not going to get into that. Okay. The 3 songs were Slow Ride. Think about the words for that one a minute. Tonight's the Night by Rod Stewart. That's where you have that little French girl that's kind of moaning or something. And then Afternoon Delight, which did not mean when the popsicle truck came out of the Becky Beasley, would you like to stand? Becky, you are awesome. That's it. Let's give Becky a hand for being a good sport. Okay. So kind of some current events. First of all, does anybody from 1977 remember what your class song was? Go your own way. Does anybody from 78 remember what our class song was?
My Way.
My Way.
My Way.
Did we actually vote on that? Okay. What I thought. And we're going to, before the night's over, we're going to go ahead and let Scott over to the secretary. Okay, here was some other current events going on back then. I went, I certainly didn't remember this stuff, but I went on the internet, looked, so it must be true. The cost of gas back in that time period was 65 cents a gallon. The average cost of a home was $49,000. If you were renting, the average rent was $240. The average cost of an 8-track player, $169. You can still get one on eBay for about that. They came out with the Tandy TRS-80 that was about $400. I never saw these, but I found it interesting since everybody has the Apple Watches today. There was a wrist-worn AM radio that you could buy for $8. A 5-inch portable TV cost you $147. Really, the prices of TVs are a lot better today. And the stereo system was about $248. The first cellular mobile phone was introduced in Illinois. The Department of Defense was developing the precursor to the GPS that we all rely on now. An Apple II computer went on sale, and the first test tube baby was born. As far as politics, Gerald Ford was on his way out. Jimmy Carter was on his way in. In sports, Seattle Slew won the Triple Crown in 1977. Affirmed won the Triple Crown in 1978. And then there was not another Triple Crown winner until 2015. So that was a period of 37 years. So I guess Secretariat had won it in 73. We kind of got used to that. And there was almost 4 decades it wasn't done. Class of 77, the Oakland Raiders won the Super Bowl your senior year. In class of 78, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Movies. Rocky won the Best Picture in 1977. I really think class of 77 put this on this one, because class of 78, Annie Hall. I thought Animal House got so ripped off. So some of the other movies, Smokey the Bandit, Close Encounters, Star Wars, Saturday Night Fever, The Deer Hunter, The Second Jaws, and Animal House. As far as TV programs, Happy Days, Little House on the Prairie, The Rockford Files, Saturday Night Live. And I bet most of us could name the members from 77, 78, and probably couldn't name one or two that are on there today. Wheel of Fortune, and I think it had the same two people that do it now. Charlie's Angels, Chips, The Love Boat, Three's Company, Welcome Back Potter, and then in April of 78, the series Dallas premiered. And this, in the world of, I think this was the original fake news. Somebody said Elvis died in 1977, but we know Elvis did not die. Okay, y'all also were asked to say who your favorite teachers were, and you know, our teachers made us better people. They didn't just teach us book learning and all those things. They taught us a lot about life. If you haven't caught up with any of your teachers, I'd encourage you to do so. And sadly enough, one of the best ways to do this is to go visit the nursing home. When I go up there, there's usually 3 or 4 teachers that I know that are up there. We're not getting any younger, and they're certainly not getting any younger. So if you have a chance to tell them thank you or I'm sorry, whichever you feel like you need to tell them, probably both, then I would encourage you to do that. It would just mean the world to them. So here's the list of the ones that y'all turned in. Mrs. Wilkes, Mrs. Painter. Did anybody know that Miss Painter played for the Wayland Flying Queens? She was one of the Flying Queens. Neat lady. Mrs. Powell. This says Mr. Bell. I mean, I know Mrs. Bell, but was there a Coach Bell was a plotter, right? Okay. Okay. Coach Simpson, Mr. Kelso, Mrs. Clements, Mr. Vaughn, who was a band director, and just to remind you that everything does center around Hereford, Texas. Back in about 2001, my daughter was in an all-region band in Keller, Texas. I went to hear that night and opened up the program, and the guest conductor was Randy Vaughn. So it's a pretty neat world. Mr. Rawson, Mr. White, Mr. Moore, Mrs. Warfline. I had to look to see that she taught foreign language. It wasn't required when I was there, so I didn't take it. But she was a neat lady. Coach Tucker, Mrs. Oglesby, Coach Richburg, Miss Emerson, Mrs. Reed, Mrs. Billingsley, who was referenced earlier tonight, Mrs. Bell, Mr. Priest, and Mr. Nixon. I will tell you a quick story from Mrs. Wilkes' classes, and this will cover both classes. When we were in her, I guess it was an algebra class, she had a substitute, or no, it wasn't a substitute.
Student teacher.
A student teacher named Miss McBride, who was over here from West Texas State. Yeah. And so Miss Wilkes told us one morning that we could do, or the next day was Miss McBride's birthday, we could do anything we wanted in her classroom, and then get her kind of upset, and Miss Wilkes would bring in a cake and would celebrate her birthday. Well, she also had the person from West Texas State coming. This was first period. The second period, she had the person coming to observe her and see how she's doing. Well, we got her pretty shook up. Steve Douglas was actually probably the fastest I've ever seen anybody get sent to the office. It was before the first bell rang. He was sitting over by a window doing something, and so she was filling out the paperwork. Well, we had prepared for this day, and I had some hollowed out eggs that I think I put confetti or shaving cream in, so I hit Tanya Black over the back of the head. And Miss McBride looked up, already starting to shake, and she said, "Steve, you're going with him." Okay? So then James McDowell, who never did anything wrong, I can't remember what he did, but I do remember she was going to give him a second chance. So whatever he did, she looked up, she said, "James, did you want to go too?" James said, "Yeah, why not?" So then she said, well, how about if I get Mr. George up here to see the whole class? And we thought, no, because we don't think he's in on this trip. So we kind of calmed down a little. So James and Steve and I left. Miss Wilkes was waiting for us. We walk out in the hallway. She has the cake. We look back in. Tanya Black has just shot a water pistol at the board. Miss McBride comes over just trembling. She's either mad or just sad or scared. And she says, give me that gun, and Tanya shoots her in the face. And I don't know if she ever taught again. I wouldn't blame her if she didn't. We also, Coach Arnwine's class was directly across the hallway, and I never forget, Miss Wilkes was up at the front of the class writing on the board. James McDowell was handing me chalk, or maybe both of us were throwing it. We were throwing it across the hallway to see if we could hit it through the door in Coach Arnwine's class. Well, I didn't see Coach Arnwine come out. He'd come around by our door, and so I throw one, and it didn't hit him, but right after I released it, he sticks his head in, and he goes, has somebody been throwing chalk? And Mrs. Wilkes never even moved. She said, Steve, go clean it up. So she had eyes in the back of the head. The funnier thing, I think, was those of you in the class of 77 in Miss Wilkes' class, and I don't know how he tied it, but Philip Zinger jumped out. She's on the second floor. He jumped out of the window, but he had tied a rope to where he could grab it, where he wouldn't fall, but she didn't know that. So Philip just said he was tired of it, crawled out the window and jumped, and scared her to death. He was just letting himself down by the rope. I think that class also had her right after lunch, and there was one lunch period where she would shut her door and lock it. Well, somebody in that class took the hinge pins out of the door, so when she came in from lunch and unlocked it and yanked that door open, I guess it slid into Coach Arnwine's class. Slid all the way across. But anyway, I would encourage y'all to touch base with some of those teachers. I'm sure that as those names were called out, y'all were thinking of a lot of stories of your own that happened in their classes, and they were pretty good to put up with those knuckleheads all that time. Okay, the next part, y'all gonna have to listen quick so I can hurry up, or I'll have to talk quick. Y'all were also asked to turn in some thoughts about you might be from Hereford if. And again, the farther we get away from having eaten, some of these be better. First one was you might be from Hereford if you think manure smells like money. And this next would, given the fact that my daughter walked into a grocery store in Conway, Arkansas, proudly wearing her Hereford White Faces shirt, and everybody turned and looked at her, I think this next one makes sense. You might be from Hereford if you know that White Faces refers to cattle and not some racist organization. You might be from Hereford if the word La Posta makes you thirsty. Amen. You might be from Hereford when you hear the word umbarger, you think dance. You might be from Hereford if when you hear the word Mars, you think party.
Randy.
Those of us from Stanton probably consider it. Now I think everybody knew where Randy Mars's parties were. If when you hear George, you think Mister. If you ever ate a spud nut at Troy's Fruit Shop. If you ever burned out at the Sonic. If seeing a 1-hour Martinizing still makes you want to pull over and hang out. If you ever made out in the Star Theater, show of hands on, no, never mind. And in some of our cases, if you ever wanted to make out in the Star Theater. If you ever snuck someone into the Tower Drive-In in the back of the trunk. If you ever painted fence posts at a feed yard during the summer to raise money for a school group. And this one was submitted anonymously. If somebody ever stole outhouses for the bonfire. There's some things in life we're really not proud of. And I think that one there, I really think that the pause button was created so when people like me are standing before God and he's running that video replay, I'm scared to death he's going to use that pause button. A lot.
You're still worth 50 points.
That's right. That's right. We'll get more points for you. If you know what a Golden Cow Chip Award is, if you had a Consumers Co-op account, if you've ever used a dead bloated cow as a trampoline. Lynette Andrews. If you know who Garth Merrick is, and then tying those two together, if you've ever seen someone and Garth Merrick's eating their lunch while sitting on a dead cow, and you thought that was normal. If you remember Holly sugar and still think that sugar was better than Imperial sugar. If you've ever been driving down 287 and seen this large plastic bull being pulled down the highway and you just shrug because that was normal too. If you ever snuck out of the house with a friend after midnight only to find out there was no one out, there was nothing open, there was nowhere to go, so it took you an hour to sneak back in the house. If you've ever swam in an irrigation ditch or a tailwater pit, if you know the Cowgirl Hall of Fame originated right here and not in Fort Worth. Amen. If you ever learned to drive before you were 10. If you drove yourself to driver's ed. Okay, y'all gotta listen to this last one. If you ever lost money on a bet as to whether or not Warren Cornelius would live to be over 50 years old. So my favorite Warren Cornelius story happened on the 4th of July. For some reason, he wanted me to drive his car. I think I know why. Anyway, he wanted me to drive his car. So I was driving. We were leaving Greg Hennington's house. Warren was in the passenger seat. 4th of July, we've gone about 2 blocks. He rolls down the window. He lights up a Roman candle with 8 fireballs in it, and he starts shooting it out the window. And all of a sudden, we see a police officer, and he's only shot 3 of them, 8. So what would anybody do? Pull that sucker back inside the car. I'll show you all the scars on my leg. His floorboard was on fire. And I kept thinking, kind of like that Clint Eastwood deal, I have to ask, did you just shoot 5 or 6? Is there more? I'm sure the policeman was laughing. Okay, Becky told me not to put these 2 in here because she says I'll get choked up and cry. So y'all laugh if I cry and it'll make me feel better, okay? Might be from Hereford. Your dad has open heart surgery. And Ricky Matchett, Bobby Meyer, Lori Stein Kruger, Rhonda and Scott Hall's mother Kay almost beat you to the hospital. That's the kind of place Hereford is. And you might be from Hereford. If even though you're the hours away, you have comfort knowing that Lori Stein Kruger and Tanya Black are 2 of your mother's very best friends. And they'll always be there when you can. Y'all don't know how much that means to me to have y'all here. So that's kind of the way Hereford is. Okay, enough of that. Now we're going to do the memorial. If you thought that was choked up. A few memorial words. As Mike said in his prayer, we had several in the group that have passed on. There is it right back there, Lynette? Okay, there's a thing back there, if you would, sometime tonight, drop by and put something on there in memory of one of our classmates that passed away. There's others in our class who are battling illness, and again, we're not getting any younger. So there was a poem that I found. The author is unknown. I certainly didn't write it, but I think it was kind of appropriate for a reunion like this. So as I read it, each of you is probably thinking of somebody that's not here anymore, who's in our class, so kind of think of them as I read this. The poem's entitled, Still Missing You. They say there's a reason, they say that time will heal, but neither time nor reason will change the way we feel. For no one knows the heartache that lies behind our smiles. No one knows how many times we've broken down and cried. We want to tell you something so there won't be any doubt. You're so wonderful to think about, but so hard to be without. We cannot bring the old days back when we were all together, but the memories that we made in school live in our hearts forever. So keep those who are sick in your prayer, and again, try to get back there tonight sometime and put a memory up there for them. Man, I have got so many pieces of paper, and they are all getting thrown away. I had one other thing I'm gonna end with, but I think the first song tonight we wanted to make sure you knew about. Back in the 1990s, there was a local family by the name of Walker. They started a monthly get-together for local musicians and music lovers, and they called it the Country Opera. Karen Walker Feynman wrote a song in 1998 about Hereford. Those of you who have been living around here will probably remember it. Those of us who have been gone for the most part since then may not have heard it. But listen to the words as it's being read, and I think even if you haven't been back for years, there'll be some things it mentions about our town that you'll recognize. The name of the town is, the name of the town is Hereford. The name of the song is Cowtown, USA. And so finally, can I get a round of applause for the finally? I just kind of wanted to end with the words of the song about perspective on life. I am a big Jimmy Buffett fan, but actually I like his lesser known songs probably a lot more than ones that people can sing, have the words memorized too. Despite some of his writing, he's actually a very thoughtful writer sometimes. And this song was actually written about a man he knew in Key West, who's a very old man. If anybody in here ever heard of the song, He Went to Paris? Okay, there's a few Buffett fans in here. I'd encourage you to Google it. It's really a nice song. It's about a man that he knew in real life. This man, when he was young, had gone to Paris. As the song says, he was looking for answers to questions that bothered him so. He didn't really find any answers there, but he moved from France to England. He married, had a little boy. The song says they had a fine life. She was a good wife, bore him a young son named Jim. So he lives there for 20 years, but then World War II happens. And as the song says, the war takes his baby, the bombs kill his lady, and leave him with only one eye. His whole body's battered, his whole life is shattered. All he can do is cry. So after all that terrible things that's happened in his life, he leaves England one night and just kind of slides back across the ocean to the United States. So he's getting old, and it says he ends up living on the islands, which in this case was Key West. It says every day he fishes and drinks his green label. Says he's losing his hearing, and he never found any of those answers he was looking for. But the last part, so it's kind of a sad song, but the last part really summarizes the guy's attitude, which I think would be something we could take note of. Because like most of us, this guy's had a lot of highs and lows in his life, lots of good to go with the bad, but at the end of the song, he says, through 86 years of perpetual motion, if he likes you, he'll smile and he'll say, Jimmy, some of it's magic, some of it's tragic, but I had a good life all the way. So I wish nothing but the best for everyone in here. I hope the magic in your lives far outweighs the tragic, and hope at the end we can all say, I had a good life all the way. It's certainly been made richer by knowing all of you. So enjoy the evening. God bless, and we'll see you again in a few years.